Hello and welcome back to the weekly instalment of Time to Unwind.
Nice.
We've recently got back from our first ever proper RedBar event. It's the second official RedBar event.
Yep.
Seeing as we went to the Bonhams one recently.
Mhm.
So we thought we'd share our experience and the story of going up to London and visiting the whole RedBar gang. Take it away. Time to Unwind.
Roll the intro. So yeah, we just got back from our second RedBar event, which was in London. Central London. So we did a bit of the touristy sort of stuff first, and had a look around Trafalgar Square, and had a nice meal out and stuff, that sort of thing. And then the event started about 6:30 or so. So we wandered up to a near hotel, the event kind of started in the bar area of the hotel. So we should probably talk about maybe one of the first few watches we saw.
Yeah. So with it being one of our first events, we didn't really know anyone there, so we immediately got mingling and said who we were and said we're coming from WatchGecko and stuff like that. And coincidentally, one of the first guys we talked to had one of our straps on.
Yeah,
his,
that was cool.
Omega Speedmaster limited edition, the Tintin, the racing, and that was pretty cool. I think you got speaking to him for quite a while, didn't you?
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, it's one of those. Well, it's a Speedmaster, so the case is 41mm, something like that. 42. And they never wear as big as they sound.
No.
I think even the standard Speedmaster that Matt's got, that wears, 40, 38. It feels really good.
Yeah.
And with the addition of the red and white stripes around the edge of the dial, it kind of just brought the dial in.
Yeah, it framed it quite nicely.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and it was nice. I've seen pictures of the Tintin before and never been that impressed.
Yeah.
I've always thought, wow, I thought it was cool, but I just thought the colours didn't really work that well.
All right.
And I think probably because he had it on the right strap. We basically had it on one of our Jonathan perforated straps in black and red, and that just looked really cool.
Yeah, the red stitching really kind of set the dial off.
Yeah.
Blended it in so it wasn't just such a stark contrast to everything else that, if it was on the bracelet, I'm sure it would still look cool, but it would be less, in keeping with the theme.
I think it would probably stand out even more, the red on the dial, and then probably look quite out of place.
Maybe overpowering.
Yeah,
as well.
I think so. I think the straps tied it in nicely. So yeah, that was the main watch he brought really, and he just we were just talking about our collections and stuff, and he listed and showed me however many Amigas he had, and it was endless. So it was really cool to kind of talk to him about Amiga. I think they're a really interesting brand. They obviously don't get as much. I think they kind of live in the shadow a little bit of Rolex, which if you look at any standard Speedmaster for like $3,500 for a brand new Speedmaster with, let alone the luxury and all the high quality features, then throw on the iconic status it has.
Yeah,
it's like for what you get, it's such
a
good price.
Yeah, just the standard movement is in-house too. Amiga. Whether or not they make it, I'm not sure, but
no. But it's cool. It's interesting. I think that's one of the take homes from RedBar events is you just see you get to chat to so many interesting people. So, do you want to talk about the
first
watches you were looking at then?
So another WatchGecko fan, which is good. So he had a really nice collection of sort of smaller models or smaller vintage pieces, maybe around the size that I would be in preference of wearing. So it was a nice 36mm around that collection of really nice Vacheron rose gold dress watch, kind of similar to a Patek Calatrava or something around like the 50s, 60s
cool.
dress watch era. It's quite a cool waffle guilloche dial, and he also had a Rolex. I think it was a pre-bubble back, or it was kind of produced around the time when Rolex were producing bubble backs, and it was a manual wind version. So even though it had the kind of bubble back case, it didn't have the bulbous case back because there was no need for the rotor.
Yeah.
So it's quite cool, like a little slim profile with a nice gilt dial.
Yeah, that dial colour.
Half California dial as well, so it's pretty cool. Nice little quirky watch. And
was that one 32 or 34? Because I tried it on.
I think it was 35.
Oh, okay, 35. Fair enough. Yeah, because I tried it on and I remember thinking like that's going to be small because I've seen those models before. But yeah, I tried it on and was like, actually, it feels pretty good. I suppose that's just the benefits of the oyster case, really.
Yeah, with the slightly elongated lugs for the size, even though it's not really noticeable because it's quite a small watch, but it just helps it wear bigger than if it was 34mm, 35mm with a really short lug to lug, it would wear extremely small.
Yeah.
But as long as it takes up at least a decent amount of like the kind of top of your wrist, then that's kind of how the wrist presence is is counted.
Yeah.
So that was nice. Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose kind of sticking with those smaller oyster cases, we then got chatting to a guy who had a little 34mm Tudor oyster from, I'm not sure what it was from, but I don't know, 80s maybe, something like that.
Oh, right.
But yeah, it's 34mm as well. So I've looked at those before online and always thought they looked quite cool, but the 34mm size has put me off.
Right.
And it was only when I kind of tried it on and he was saying it's his everyday wear and stuff, and it just doesn't feel 34mm. It feels more like a 36.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really cool. It was like a nice black, I think it had like a black dial. That was his everyday. He then had, I think on one list he had like a vintage GMT with a faded bezel. That was pretty cool. And then the other one that I think kind of caught everyone's attention was like a silver dial AP, like 37mm and a half case, something like that.
Yeah, the triple calendar with moon phase.
Yeah.
So it's quite a nice complication to have on a Royal Oak, even though it's a very sporty piece. It kind of dresses it up or down. And kind of in keeping with the 37mm size. So it's got nice wrist presence, but still supremely elegant, and it's thin enough to be elegant, but not too thin to be like effeminate or.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely the right size, I think.
Yeah.
And I think, like Leonie was saying as well, if you're going to have like a Holy Trinity, you might as well get like triple calendar moon phase and everything, because you can sort of go out with it, go all out with it. But I love that. That was actually my first experience with an AP, like proper hands on time. Their bracelets are so cool. They're just, like,
the Royal Oak bracelet is
one of the coolest pieces of it.
a level above.
Yeah.
Most other bracelets, to be honest, it's really serious in it.
I think they always look modern as well.
Yeah, and the way it
Always
matches
have
to
a
the
modern
case perfectly, it's almost like there isn't a concept of a strap. It's just the case.
It's just a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. And you mentioned how thickness it was so thin, and is proper one of those watches that when you put on it just like molds to your wrist and just feels right. So I really enjoyed that. Did you have any more thoughts on his collection? Maybe some others you saw as well.
Yeah. So the vintage GMT add-on was also really nice. So it was in a really, really good condition, and the only kind of flaw to it was the fading of the bezel, which isn't really considered a flaw.
No, I wouldn't.
And it was a really nice even fade of the red on the Pepsi, switching to kind of like a very desaturated, like towards grey, but becoming kind of like pink. Yeah, it looked really cool. Just really like cool vintage piece, basically. You know, it's very trendy with the time since Rolex released the Pepsi GMT on the Jubilee this year. I know that there's been serious demand for any Pepsi GMT from any era now. So.
Well, I think the best thing about it was that he was saying that I think when he first got them, he didn't really wear them, and he got kind of babied them, and it's only recent that he started wearing them. So he's saying like he wears his AP to the gym and stuff, and it's just cool. It's what you should do with these watches. Is, as I think quite a lot of people know, a lot of people do baby them.
Yeah.
And it's quite easy to do, to be fair, because you spent however much on a watch and you want to make sure it looks as nice as it can. But once you start getting the little dinks and the scratches, it's nice. You can still see, I remember that first scratch and stuff. So
yeah, and it's more
definitely worth wearing.
You can enjoy it every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if you baby it and it looks amazing, if you're not wearing it, you're not really taking in the kind of the personality of the watch and the character, and you're not interacting with it or anything.
Yeah.
It just becomes an
an
investment
object,
piece. Yeah, just in the same.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk? Should we talk about that? The last one? Well, there are obviously loads more, but those last two.
The last big one, yeah. So there was another guy there. Quite impressively, had a solid rose gold Patek Nautilus chronograph, and it wasn't just any old Patek Nautilus chronograph. They also had the Tiffany dial to go along with it. How insane it already was. Which that was a serious piece. It was on the leather strap, and even still, it was incredibly heavy.
Yeah.
Just the heft of the solid rose gold was insane, and you could really, as soon as you felt it, it just felt so solid. Insane build quality, and the movement finishing was incredible.
Yeah.
Just the whole architecture of it was so well proportioned, well designed, and
that strap felt so cool as well.
The strap, really nicely made. Even though it was a leather strap, it was almost felt like a bracelet. It was so sturdy and well made and fit to the case so well because of the integrated kind of lug attachment.
The lugs,
So that was pretty cool. And then on his other wrist, just to top it off, he had a nice white-dialed Paul Newman Daytona.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
pretty standard watches to bring.
It's not bad.
With you.
It's not bad left and right wrist.
Which was really impressive. That condition was really, really good for such an old and rare collectible piece, and kind of the biggest vintage piece in the world right now. Everyone knows about it. Everyone's talking about it.
I think we mentioned it previously about RedBar events as well, but the great thing about that is he just kind of took them off his wrist and just kind of handed them out to everyone. And it kind of sums up these sort of get-togethers that it doesn't really matter what watch you've got. It doesn't matter however much the price is, and it's all about your like emotional connection to it.
Yeah.
And I think everyone has it. Like I said, it could be your first watch, or it could be a Holy Grail you spend 20 years trying to save up for. Everyone can kind of relate to that connection.
It's the connection with other watch people as well. So it's, it's a room full of like-minded people who also share the same enthusiasm about watches that most normal people wouldn't share the same enthusiasm or necessarily understand it. So it's a good experience going to one of these events, and I think it's definitely a recommendation for anyone who's interested in watches. I know that RedBar do host all around the world. There's ones in Melbourne, London obviously.
I think New York ones are
Glasgow,
every week or something like
New
that
York's
as well. So
really big for it, in Paris, and I'm sure that the list will go on.
Yeah, we can leave a link to their
loads.
website below because they've done a good amount of information on there, so you can check that out. But yeah, definitely worth getting along to. It doesn't matter what you've got. Everyone's there for the same reasons, really.
So what were your overall thoughts on the evening, and
I thought it was really good.
How the RedBar went?
Yeah, it was great. It's nice to just have a few drinks with some people who you've got the same passion with, really.
Yeah.
And there were loads of other watches we saw, so kind of in between there, a few of the Tudor GMTs we saw, and there's a Tudor Black Bay 36 and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just cool to get some more hands-on time with these watches from people who actually own them as well. It's different kind of going into a boutique and trying them on. You're talking to a salesman, you may be passionate, but it's not someone who's put the money down and bought it. So it's cool. Yeah. It's one thing seeing the watches, but there's also like hearing the stories behind them.
And seeing why people like these certain things. Everyone has their own preference in the world of watches, and because it's so diverse, there's so many pieces from so many different eras. To say, I spent this amount of money on this piece, even though I could have had 1,000 other watches for the price, and this is why, and this is why I like it. And it's a nice interaction, and good to kind of just view into the community that makes the watch enthusiast group.
Yeah, it's cool. What about you? What are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's good. I'd definitely like to go again.
Definitely.
I think just more power to it. Basically, more people should be aware of what it is and definitely try it out. It's free to attend. What we do is buy a few drinks in a bar and talk about some watches. It's pretty good. And
you're definitely in safe hands.
Accessible to anyone, really. Anyone could bring basically anything. You don't have to be bringing Patek Nautiluses and all these crazy pieces. You could just be interested and just want to have a nice conversation with someone, and that's what it's all about. Pretty good.
Cool. Sounds good. Alright, so thank you for watching our chat about our recent RedBar event. As we said, it's definitely worth registering your interest and having a look at any get-togethers that are around your area. So if you've got any questions on any of them as well, we're happy to help, so leave any questions below.
Definitely, if there's any of you who's going to plan on go to any of the London ones, or the ones around England, then let us know, and we'd love to meet up with you. Yeah,
we'll be there with a few exciting products and maybe
cool.
a few exclusives and stuff, so it's definitely worth coming along.
Yeah, and we'll see you in the next video.
Cool, see you.
Time to unwind.